This video, I'm going to go through a flash animation which was created for Wilf O'Neill, who is a Latin teacher who's now passed away, and it's hosted on the Association for Latin Teaching, which is the English Association for Latin Teachers. And I thought what I would do is go through it and make it into a little YouTube video. So getting started. You will probably want to read the opening chapters before moving on to the sounds of Latin. The other sections can be left till later. Whenever you see a Latin word highlighted in blue, e.g. lingua, you can click it to hear the word spoken. Clicking underlined items in the column headed letter in the sounds of Latin will display a note giving further information about that letter. So getting started. How do we know what Latin sounded like? Although we can never be completely sure of exactly how the Romans pronounced their language, there are a number of sources of evidence. The ancient grammarians who wrote descriptions of the language, inscriptions giving alternative spellings of words, the way other languages write words of Latin origin, the Romance languages which derive from Latin, as well as Latin itself. The intonation was perhaps not unlike that of modern Italian, which is thus a good starting point for acquiring a Latin accent, so to speak. Why bother to read it right? Latin literature was written to be heard read aloud, whether by the reader or at a recitatio. The practice of silent reading was not known by the Romans of the classical period, who would have enunciated the words they were reading even when alone. So Latin was an oral experience to the Romans and should be for us too, if we are fully to appreciate their writings. This is true of all Latin, but especially so of verse, where hearing is essential for a proper understanding and appreciation. How to read, reading it right. Latin is not a difficult language to pronounce correctly if you bear in mind a couple of simple principles. Every letter of every word is sounded, including final syllables. There's only one sound for a given letter in a particular position. Unlike English, where the same letter may have several values. As you go through the sounds, listen to the examples and practice saying them. To help you, all long vowels are marked with a macron. A, E, I, O, U. The sounds of Latin. So I'm going to say them for you here. Click example words to hear them spoken, etc., etc. So, the letter A, as in amare, amicus. Father, amare, clamat. I, as in English word I, aiger. Au, as in ouch, aurum. B, as in English b. So barbarus, but notice that it's p when followed by s or t, as in urps. And obstinate, obtinere. The letter C is English K, never as in nice, so kiwis, kiwis. Kh, pack horse, so kharta, kharta. D as in dent, the French, discus, discus. The letter E as in pet, tenet, tenet. The long E as in ge, plenus, plenus. And EI as in day, deinde, deinde. The EU is as an E and an U, so eheo, eoge. F as in five, fortis. G as in g, as in gas, so gladius. This GN as in hangnail, so manganus, manganus. GU as in lingua. H as in hurry, hortus, hortus. I as in the vowel in the word pit, discit. And the long I as in police, dicit. The I consonant y as in yam, yubet. And 2, hey yield, cuius. K as in kennel, calendai. L as in lay, laetus. L as in field, stultus. L as in mill, animal. M as in mother, mater. And final M, regain. This is a nasalized sound. Regain. N as in net, novus. NC, NG, NQ, ng. So incola, ingressus, inquit. NF, NS, infans. Notice the vowel before the NF is long, infans, and the vowel before NS is long, mensa. O, not post. So a long O as in bo, olim. OE as in oi, poina. P as in plant, porta. PH as in uphill, so it's aspirated, philosopus. QU as in quick, quad, quad. R as in run, so pars, pars. The RH, rehetor, rehetor. S as in sing, satis. This you need to be careful with if you're English, because you'll start aspirating your S in certain places if you're not very careful. Satis. T as in turn, so tenet. TH as in pothole, so it's aspirated. Tehermai. U as in the vowel put, ubi. The long U, mood, unus. The U consonant, w, want, when it. The UI as in squeak, we, quintus, quintus. X as in fax, fax in English. So duxit, duxit. Y, this is like a sound from the French. Pyramus, pyramus. And Z is either z or zd. So it's either zona or it's so it's zona or zdona. Gazda or gadzda. So it's, the scholars are not quite certain which way round it is, whether it's z or zd. Doesn't matter, but it's a double sound. So that's the sounds of Latin. Points to watch. Ke, e, always short. Ne, short e. Tur, short u. And beware of shortening an unstressed long vowel. Oratio, conari. Double consonants are both pronounced, one falling into each syllable. Ancilla, ancilla. S always hissed, never as z. Dies, dies. This is tricky if you're English, because the temptation is to go dies. And you'll hear many people making this mistake if you listen on YouTube. So, dies. Vowel plus NF or NS, as I mentioned before, is long. Infans, infans. Those are points to watch. Elision. Particularly in poetry, when you're reading prose, no, then it's up to you. But in poetry, it's important. When a word ends in a vowel or M, and the next word begins in a vowel with a vowel or H, the two run together and the syllable is cut out. So, longeque arena. So the E and the H. Longeque arena, longeque arena. Right? Rimigi alarum, rimigi alarum. Right? Deserta ac, desertac, desertac. Opinion is divided as to whether the elided element should be omitted completely, but it is common in modern languages, and a poet may be using a string of elisions for a particular effect: speed, urgency, anger. Generally, the academic consensus is that the elision is pretty much complete. Prodelision. The E of est is lost if the preceding word ends in a vowel or M. So scripta est becomes scriptast. Unum est becomes unumst. And this may also be the case with et, atque, ad, ab, ex, in, and inter. That's elision. Syllables. Division of syllables. A single consonant is pronounced with the following vowel. Right? Deliberabo, deliberabo. Right? Kh, ph, qu, and th count as single consonants. Aqua. Compound words also keep the rule. Abigo, ineo. Two consonants are usually divided between syllables. Colum, omnes. But consonant groups consisting of a mute, that's b, k, d, p, t, or f, followed by l or r, are generally not divided. So, apricus, agros, refluo. However, if the first of two consonants belongs to a preposition in a compound word, then the consonants are always divided. Abrupi, ad latus, al latus. 3 consonants are divided 2-1 or 1-2. Sanctus, constat, imbris, equestris. And 4 consonants are divided 2-2. Monstrum, monstrum. Assimilation of prepositions. When a compound word consists of a preposition ending with a consonant in front or before a word starting with a consonant, assimilation takes place as follows. Adk becomes ak, adf becomes af, adg becomes ag, adl becomes al, and becomes an, adb becomes up, adq becomes aqu, adr becomes ar, ads becomes as, ads becomes ask, adsp becomes asp, adst becomes ast, adst becomes at, imb becomes imb, inl becomes il, inem becomes im, imp becomes imp, inner becomes ir. So, ir, those are they, syllables. Quantity of vowels. Vowels are either long or short by nature or by position. So, a vowel is short before another vowel or before H. Via, nihil. Nd, nt. Parandus, parant. And so it's short. A vowel is long if it is followed by nth and ns, and usually gn, but there's an argument about the gn, just so you should know. So, infans, magnus, regnum, which isn't written there, of course. Right? A vowel is long if it derives from a diphthong. So, excludo from exclaudo. So you just have to learn this stuff. No one's expecting you when you're speaking off the cuff to remember the etymology of every word. You just have to remember what it sounds like. Excludo. And is formed by a contraction. So nihil from nihil. Because it's got these 2 vowels, so it's a double vowel really. Nihil. And the H is dropped out. Quantity of syllables. Now, this is an issue of much academic dispute, and we don't really know heavy and light syllables, how the Romans did it, but we have an idea. A syllable is long if it contains a long vowel or diphthong. Mater, aes, aula. So these are long. Long vowel, a diphthong, diphthong. A short vowel followed by 2 consonants makes a long syllable. Interestingly, the number of consonants before the vowel is irrelevant. So it's sort of the weight or the tenseness of the vowel that matters. Or a double consonant, but the vowel remains short. So est, terra, saxum. So x here, it's a long syllable. Terra, terra, est. So these are tense, these vowels are tense because of what's happened after them. A, e, o, or u, followed by the consonantal I. So aio, maior, peius. Now, the reason for that is that this I is actually doubled, and it's maior, peius, aio. So it's a long syllable because it's aio, maior, peius. This is the way the dictionaries write it. It's not maior, peius, it's peius, maior, aio. A syllable is short if it contains a short vowel followed by a mute before l or r, although it may count as long in verse. In verse, a final consonant followed by an initial one has the same effect in verse. In determining syllable quantity, H and the U after G and Q and S are ignored in poetry when we are looking at syllable quantity. Stress. Now, stress is quite important in Latin poetry, as is the length of the syllables. They both are important and they both play together, as indeed as tone. Tone and stress are quite closely related to each other. In words of 2 syllables, the stress is on the first. Puer, puer. Notice the tone going up and down as well. Puer. In words of 3 or more syllables, the stress is on the penultimate syllable if it is heavy. Legatus. This is a heavy syllable here, right? This is light. So, or it's a tense syllable, or however you want to define it. Legatus. And on the anti-penultimate syllable, if the penultimate is light. So here we have the penultimate light, right? Fe, fe. It hasn't got any tenseness in it. Fe. So, confero, confero. Because this is not tense, so the tenseness is here. This takes the accent. Confero. That's stress. Reading verse. Words keep their natural stress, and this is something that we completely in agreement with. All the Roman grammarians are in agreement with it, and must not be affected by the metrical ictus, which is the metrical beat, which is invisible. It's used to construct the poem, just like your skeletons inside your body. It constructs you, just like the superstructure of a skyscraper is inside it. You don't see it, but the thing would fall down without it. So, poets use the conflict between the coincidence of the natural stress and the metrical ictus for special poetic effects. And the coincidence in the 5th and 6th feet is a characteristic of the hexameter. So, we have metrical ictus and natural stress. So the metrical ictus I'm going to read to you now. This is the way that you might be taught it in class, but it's not how the Romans would ever recite their poetry aloud. It would be done in the schoolroom. So, arma virumque cano Troiae qui primus arboris. Now notice here the stress is on the last syllable of this word, which is impossible in Latin, and here too, Troiae. So let's do that again. This is the actual ictus falling. Arma virumque cano Troiae qui primus arboris. And then the actual way that the Roman would have read this, arma virumque cano Troiae qui primus arboris. And this is quite tricky for an English speaker because notice it's a short vowel with stress. And in English, when we have a short vowel that's stressed, well, the vowel is always long. So it's very hard for an English person to do. Arma virumque cano. Also, it's possible the word stress fell earlier on this word. Arma virumque cano Troiae qui primus arboris. Let's do the next line of this. Now the ictus, Italiam fato profugus lavinaque venit litora. Now this is very weird. If you're a Roman and you're used to the way people speak, this is not the way it would ever be done, except in the classroom to teach the structure of the poem, the scansion, so called. But the actual word stress, Italiam fato profugus lavinaque venit litora. So when you read Latin poetry, you read it like it's prose. You can pick up any book of Latin poetry and you can read it very, very easily without any great analysis of it. You don't have to do the scansion to be able to read the poem, but you need to do the scansion to write the poem. They're different things. So the coincidences between the ictus and the stress are here, and here there's no coincidence. Here, not, yes, yes, right? So the second has only got 2 coincidences natural to the hexameter. So on, that's reading verse. So reading verse, you read it like it were prose. Right, further information, books. There are 2 essential books If you are serious about your Latin, go onto Amazon or whatever and get this one. Right, Cambridge University Press, Vox Latina, W.S. Allen. This is the standard work that's accepted by all Latin teachers who teach the restored classical pronunciation of Latin. And then Langenscheid's Shorter Latin Dictionary, and any other Latin dictionary that's reliable. Right, there are a large number of documents on the World Wide Web relating to the subject. Try a search for classical Latin pronunciation and you will find an enormous amount. Right, acknowledgements. Acknowledgements, let's read through them because they're important. Grateful thanks are due to John Hazel, who first put me right on correct pronunciation. This is Wilf O'Neill speaking, who's passed away, of course. The late Belinda Dennis, whose work over many years was the inspiration for the program and to whose memory it is dedicated. And now it's dedicated, of course, to Wilf O'Neill's memory as well. And to Tony Smith for all his help in preparing the Flash version. And the reason why I'm recording this is that Flash is slowly disappearing from browsers, and if you're on a mobile phone, you can't access it on many mobile phones, so I've made this recording. And any errors and infelicities remaining are the sole responsibility of the author, so wrote Wilf O'Neill. So this is the basic introduction to Latin pronunciation from Wilf O'Neill, called Read It Right, on the Association for Latin Teachers website.